Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to be having a look at a replay of a game that I played yesterday. And the reason for this is just to kind of show the issues kind of firsthand about the CAS stuff at top tier and why a lot of people find it as an issue. Now I do want to preface this. I've been playing the Challenger 2E, I've been grinding it out, actually been doing really well in it and feeling pretty good, especially with the Black Knight as a backup. The APS has been really nice. Now, the other part is this is not every battle. This is a specific issue when it comes to this type of specific setup, when you have a single lane fight, and also you have very exposed spawns, and also at the same time, both of these teams had a lot of squads on them and a lot of communication. So this is kind of a perfect storm of the problem that I'm talking about. I would actually say most of the battles that I had over the last few days didn't have this issue, and actually generally I actually had more problems with CAS around about 10-0, 11-0 because of stuff like Mavericks, and also because of stuff like helicopters, because of the fact that a lot of the AAs around that area got nerfed. So this battle started at about 36, 37 seconds, and you can see most people are in MBTs on my team, and then on the enemy team, you can see that most people are in either light vehicles or they are in MBTs, right? Because that's pretty much the standard at the SPAA. There's an Ito who is just chilling, so hopefully can provide some air defense, but probably not. But the battle starts off pretty standardly. We're going to be using sensor view here, just so you can kind of see what goes on. Now, the Ito, unfortunately, doesn't move forward. This Ito should have moved a little bit over here, maybe, to start with, just because of the fact that, we've talked about the issues in terms of being stuck terms of being stuck in that setup. I'm just going to fix my sound so you don't have to hear the really loud guns of people firing. So overall, the setup's pretty standard. Nothing is going crazy here. You just have all of these guys capturing the zone. You have these guys capturing the zone. Then you have a few guys on the flank just like setting up with each other. And that's pretty much it. It's a standard Ardennes battle. We have a few issues on the side here, which is why for me, I saw this. So I decided to loop around, make sure to cover this area, because usually that causes an issue. You have the first engagement, which is here. And then, you have a big fight in the center. People are going crazy. People are going nuts. And, trying their best to get a bit of an advantage at this point. So, fighting over the central cap, there's another cap that's coming for, the enemies. But mainly what you have is a bit of a brawl, okay? You have a bit of a brawl with everybody just kicking out. Now, as this is going on, nothing's really happening over here. Everything's kind of the same, and, things are sitting down. But this is where the problem starts. So we're 2 minutes, 29 into this battle. And remember, we spawned at about 36, 37 seconds into the battle, and both teams spawned at that point. So less than 2 minutes into the battle, a K50 pops up. Now, this K50, as you can see, has a full set of Vickers, also has all of the rockets too, and has 1 cap and 1 assist. That's it. Now, that isn't just the problem, though, because have a look at my team. My team has a HAD, Block 2, helicopter, with 8 spiky arm missiles, plus air-to-air missiles, with 568 score, 1 cap, and 1 assist. Now, the crazy thing about this is the only counter on both teams to either of these vehicles is this one Ito that is sat at the back because of how teams set up at the start, okay? So, and a lot of people tell me about how score works and also spawn points work. I don't know if they think, I haven't been playing for a long time or I just kind of fall into these things. I understand the relationship between ordnance and also score and spawn points. It's a very simple idea, but this right here is showing the problem. You are 2 minutes into a battle, you have 2 fully loaded helicopters, which are incredibly powerful, plus you have the squads around them to tell you where people are, and you have a single lane match, which we'll get into later on, okay? So this is the start of it, right? So the helicopters come up, the Ka-50 literally just has to look forward, because if you didn't know, with the helicopter spawns the way that they are, because of where the Ka-50 is, you have a straight line to look straight down into the enemy spawn, so you can just fire in. And then when it comes to this Tiger HAD, you have a straight line where you can annihilate all of the people here and also here, right? So the spiky R's are off. They're just firing at targets that are going in. The K-50 is setting up too. So we are 2.5 minutes into the battle, and you already have spiky R's tracking targets. So good luck to them. And there you go. The Vickers are now firing. They are going straight for, guess where he's looking? That's right, he's looking straight at the spawn, because that's where people aim. They take off and look at the spawn, because of the fact that this is right behind the enemy spawn. So they just look right here. So this is why you can't get out of the spawn on this type of map, a single lane map. Because every single cast member knows exactly where people are going to be, because of the fact that you are limited in your spawn. Now the Ito's firing, there are spikes firing at the Ka-52, and they hit it. They take it out, right? So that's a great start. Good stuff. The Ka-50 is dead. The guy obviously left his vehicle, didn't really do too much, but look at the spiky R's coming in. Look at all this crazy stuff. And within 30 seconds, the Tiger HAD has fired off all of its spikes, has been able to do some damage to some things around. So let's see. So has 1 kill at the moment, and then most of the spikes haven't brought in. And then 2 kills right there in 30 seconds, and also fired them a bunch at just random targets, right? Now this guy didn't do anything in his K-50. Okay? So he spawned a fully laden K-50. The Ito countered it. That's great, right? He spawned, got a cap, got an assist, got in a fully laden K-50, and has enough points to spawn again in a T-72B3. This guy has 2 ground kills, 1 death, and is once again in a fully laden K-52. So, and also has all of the air-to-air armament as well. Okay? Now, my team, we have 2 assists, 2 ground kills, fully laden F-16, going to the heavens to use all of its armament. Okay? Plus, the Tiger, which is another one coming in, with 2 caps, no kills, fully parsed up vehicle. Okay? So you can see the problem that's already starting here, right? With most of these CAS elements, they have not had to do a lot of work to be able to get into fully laden vehicles. So this idea that the amount of spawn points that these things require is massive or huge is wrong. Okay? Now we have an Su-25. And this actually shows another problem with this map. Actually, quite a large problem with this map, if I can find it. So this guy's done really well. He's got 4 kills, 1 assist, and also has died. So, you know, he's going to go in a fully laden, you know, CAS setup, and let's see what he's doing. So he straight up spawns straight away, and then just looks, fires the missile, and then goes in straight away, bang. And then bang, and then bang, because all he's doing is looking at the spawn. Okay, so this guy has spawned straight away, hasn't done anything else, and has just fired 2 KHMTs with full track into the spawn of the enemy, while the PLAAFs are coming in from the other side from our setup. And then also, look what the F-16's done. Come straight down and just hammered everything in that line that we talked about before, which is this line where the enemy has to be. Just like how my team has to be here because they're all in a line. So you can see how ridiculous this setup is, where everybody knows exactly where everyone else should be, and the setup it takes for this CAS to actually attack enemies is incredibly tiny, right? So you have a small area as a tank where you have to exist, and if you exist anywhere else in that area, you just die, okay? So now he's checking his missiles, and guess what? Right out of spawn, he was able to lock the Ito. And he's killed the Ito. Right? And now here, we're doing the same thing again. So once again, just literally looking at enemies, because they have to be in these positions with decent optics. At this moment, he is how far away from the battlefield? Okay. At this moment, he's about 8 kilometers away from the battlefield. He ended up spawning maybe 10k away from the battlefield. Maybe, at most. Oh, and there's an A7 coming in too. Right? And he's fired off all of his ordnance. And then we have an F-16 coming in to hit him. But he countermeasured, which is, you know, fair. And the F-16 is going for him, but it doesn't matter, because he's already sent off all of his munitions. While also you have these two coming in. This guy has 2 assists. That's all he has. 2 assists. Look at the armament he's able to bring on 2 assists. He has 400 score. That's it. Now this guy doesn't do much in his vehicle, because it's an A7, so it actually requires, you know, setup, unless you're using Mavericks, which he isn't. But that's 2 assists. Like, do you think that's fair? This is all in the range of 4 minutes, by the way, of this battle. This battle actually went on for quite a while. It went on for 14 minutes, which is surprising with the amount of CAS that's around. Now, for me, at this point, if I can find myself, there. So we're in the Challenger. We have 1 cap. We have 1 kill. I'm just holding the flank because I don't know how many people are here, and I know that they have control of the center because of the fact that everything has just been annihilated. And at the same time, now I start making my moves to actually go to different places, because I'm just like, there's so much CAS in the air from the enemy, there's so much from my team, there can't be that many tanks on the ground, right? There just can't be. But there's a million of them, which is just the case. Now, on a single lane map, I want you to have a look at what we have here, okay? So the spawn on this map is around like this area, yeah? So right now we have an Azrad, and we also have an Ito. This Ito was a different one, I believe, than the one that was up here, or it might have been the same. So this is the one that got donked, okay? So just look at this spawn, and look at how many vehicles have been destroyed around this area, mainly by CAS. Because on this map, which is tiny, as a team with a single spawn, you only have 1 route. You either go here, here, or here. And it's all exposed, and it's all open against CAS with thermals. You can see how many vehicles have died in the center here. Some from ground, but most from CAS, right? And not just my team, also the enemy team. You can see here, the enemy team is trying to spawn in AA, but there's too much CAS in the air to be able to stop it. Even the Panzers, the mighty Panzer that everybody talks about, the crazy powerful vehicle, they're just getting nuked by these Tigers over and over again. Because the Tigers, it takes 2 seconds to set up, and hammer and then go back to base. This guy still hasn't got a kill, and he's fired a full set of PLAAFs at people, by the way. This guy has 2 kills from the last time he's set the PLAAFs off, but they're all just going for these areas, right? The F-16 did exactly the same thing. Look, did it exactly with the Mavericks. Just went top down, bang, 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 annihilated everything. It is just nuts at the end of the day how much effort is going into trying to stop these vehicles, and none of them are being stopped, right? So we have the Azrad, we have the other one, and then we have the Challenger, which is me over here, and then we have a lot of enemies in the center, because, to be honest, we've just been crashed through. And here comes the next round of helicopter missiles coming in. 2 sets of them, plus you have a drone which is coming in. So that's another 2 missiles which are turning up. Then you have a K-52 over here, another Su-20. Oh no, sorry, that's the same. No, that's a different one. An Su-27 that's turned up. This guy has 7 kills. I'm pretty sure this was the dude that spawned in the other CAS element, wasn't it? Let's see. Because, can I find him? I'm pretty sure this was the guy that was in the... This was the guy that was in the Su-25 a second ago, and basically just spawned. Yeah, so this was the guy who was in the Su-25. He got 4 kills with his ground vehicles, spawned in the Su-25, fired off all of the munitions straight away, and got 3 more kills. So now he can go in another aircraft and be fully laden as well, including air-to-air ordnance and air-to-ground ordnance. And all he did was click 4 buttons while in that Su-25. Countermeasures, scope, and then spacebar or whatever he uses it. Because he knows exactly where the enemy is going to be because of how this map is set up, right? So look at just the amount of ordnance that is flying in on this map. You have the Vickers, you have an Azrad, once again, just trying to stop all this going in. You have all the spikes. You have the air-to-air stuff going on. You have the MQ turning up as well. You have all of these ridiculous things. And now you have more and more people trying to spawn in AAs because they're just like, what is going on? This is just mental. And as I said, this is not most battles at this tier. Okay, I know the narrative is that, but it isn't the case. Most of these battles don't have this much CAS. It's just this type of map. That's why it's a problem, okay? That's why it's an issue, because people remember these types of maps because they're just a mess in terms of how they're set up, right? So now, okay, now we have people spawning in AAs because they're like, oh god, there's a million CAS in the air, right? But the problem is, they are spawning, and by the time they are spawning, because the aircraft are so far away, they can lock missiles, bombs, whatever. There's a MiG-27 in the air now. They can lock all of these things onto the AAs as they're spawning, and by the time the missiles or the bombs get there, they have lost their spawn protection. So you see people trying to counter this, and I've seen so many times where people go, why does AA get stuck in its spawn? Why don't they move so CAS elements don't know where they are? Because they're under constant pressure. You can't move. You can't go anywhere. If you go left or right, they see you, they know you're there, you also lose your spawn protection, right? So there's the Su-27, okay? Then you have another guy up here, the MiG-27, then an A-10 that's just turned up, then an AH-60, which is full of spikes, and a K-52. This guy has 1 cap, 2 ground kills, full-on guided bombs, full-on Mavericks, full AIM-9s. Okay? 1,000 score. So just another thing that you have to deal with as an AA. So if you have a look at this spawn, which is my spawn, you can see they're getting tracked before they even move. So that's four AAs that have died, Two more have spawned to try and deal with all of these threats. You know, the A-10's being seen at least. You can see how many radars are around. Whoop. No idea what happened there. But then also, our team is doing the same thing with these helicopters. They're just bang, bang, banging and trying to go after... What is that ATAS thing doing? Jesus. Just flew like straight up. But our team is trying to do the same thing with theirs. Trying to counter all of this stuff which is just coming out. And it's just not working. Like, you cannot do anything against this. Right? Look. Okay, this AH-60 over here has spawned right next to the helipad. Okay? So there's the helipad. So just taken off and is now firing all of his missiles. Look how many he has. Okay, he has 8 spike missiles. He has 1 ground kill, 1 assist. He has 8 spikes, and he is able to just throw them at the enemy. So the vast majority of people that we have seen in this replay, who are either using helicopters with full loadouts in terms of ground ordnance, or full loadouts in terms of air ordnance, have hardly any kills, have hardly any assists, and any ground captures. And look where he's targeting. Straight into the spawn, because in a helicopter on this map, you just take off and look straight and fire straight. He's literally firing into dead targets. Now we have some Hellfires coming in. That's obviously the drone. Once again, targeting the enemy spawn. And so are the PLAAFs. They just go towards the spawn over and over and over again. And here's the spikes. More of them coming in to hit dead targets. Obviously needs to have a bit of a look at what's going on. But yeah, so how do you deal with this? From both teams. Oh, there we go. The Florakrak got hit. He screwed up because he moved 20 meters, so yeah, that's the problem. He should have moved 30 meters. That would have helped him against the spike. So now the CAS is kind of relaxed a bit. Kind of. Not really. It's still coming in. There's another Su-25. 2 air kills, 2 assists, 3 deaths, and my boy is nearly fully laden. So once again, look what he's doing. He's looking straight at the spawn, and he's just firing everything in. Straight away. So, how do you... You're not going to counter that. You're not going to be able to counter that, because you can't. Right? It is spawning in, straight away, and firing at the AAs in the spawn, because of how the map is set up. Right? It's ridiculous. And people make excuses for this. Right? People just make excuses. Now, in the meantime, on the ground, we've been fighting over Alpha and Bravo. But every time we get even close to Bravo, you just get annihilated by something that's coming in. Look at this. Look how crazy this is. So on the ground, they have a BMP, they have a Strela, and they have a T-90 somewhere, which is around. Because the T-90 is in the middle here. But I don't... Did he just die? He might have just died. So that's all they have on the ground. In the air, they have an A-10, K-52, Su-25, another K-52, an Apache, and the AH-60 with the spikes. Let's see how all of these guys have done. Two caps, 1 death. 3 kills, which he got from the spikes. Okay. We have the Su-25, who has 2 air kills, 3 deaths, and 2 assists, and is able to get into an Su-25 with ordnance that can fire a ridiculous amount. This guy, who has been in this for a long time, has 1 cap, 1 death, 2 assists, 1 ground kill. This dude, 1 cap, 2 ground kills, 1 death. And then I think that's about it, right? So not exactly a ton of work done at this moment in time. But because of how this map is set up, we have the ground game. right? We even have some support from helicopters. We have all of this. But because of the map and because of how it's all set up, you cannot do anything. You are just stuck. Which is why, with these guys, the AAs, I spawned and I was like, oh god, what happened here? And then I realized, because of this line, you're just... What do? Look at this. Like, is this fun? Is this enjoyable to play against? It wasn't for me. Because, as I talked about, none of these aircraft take any setup to actually do any of this. Right? The Su-25s spawn straight away and target straight away. The A-10s, some of them, move slightly to the side, right? So from 10k away, slightly to the side, and then fired their Mavericks. The F-16 went top down. The helicopters literally spawn and just take off, move 20 meters, fire all of their ordnance off, and then go back to base. So the setup time for these CAS elements is about 10 seconds once they spawn. And that's the problem. They have no setup time, so you have no way of responding as a ground vehicle. Not even just as an MBT, but as an AA or as anything else. You can see our guys, right? Look, the Gepards, and even though the Gepards are never going to hit something from this far out, the Type 81 might. But you can see they're aiming, they're firing, they're trying. But by the time they're firing, they've already targeted and they're already dead. Because the Su-25, as it can spawn, can snap and know exactly where the enemy's going to be because of the map setup, right? Whereas the AAs, they know where the spawns are for the planes, but they still have to wait, especially if they are IR guided, in order to be able to hit them. Because they have to get into a specific range for the heat signature to be there, or just for their missiles to be up there. And that's if they're not getting pressure from anything else. This game has been going on for 8 minutes, and since the 2-minute mark, my team has been under constant CAS pressure. Ow. And the enemy team has also been under some CAS pressure from some helicopters, right? But then this is what it ends up with, right? This is what happens. And the major problem that I have with this is not that all of these missile systems, all of these bomb systems exist. That is a small part of it. My problem that I have is the amount of spawn points you need to bring in these ridiculous weapon systems is minimal. It's tiny, the amount that you have to bring in. As I said, most people had like a cap and an assist, or a cap and maybe 1 kill, and you're allowed to spawn in a fully laden vehicle that once it spawns can just toss 6, 7, 8 pieces of ordnance at people as they spawn. Like, that's crazy. Look at these Mavericks. Just, once again, like, also terrible shooting by a lot of this. Imagine if a lot of these CAS elements actually took time to shoot at people who were actually alive as well. The amount of ordnance that we've seen here, which just goes in and hammers, dead vehicles. Because they are trying their best to just get their ordnance off as quick as possible, so they can't get hurt, right? Oh, look, another one. God damn. Oh, dear. This one, that one was just wayward and all over the place. The Su-25 coming in. The K-52 once again hammering the spawn, because you get a direct line of sight from there to the spawn. So, yeah. Let's have a look at the AAs and how far they were allowed to. I would love somebody to point out when any of these AAs are supposed to move, by the way. I would love to sit here and go, yep, they should have maybe moved to this area, they should have maybe moved to this area, but you can't on this map. You move to here, doesn't work. You move to here, doesn't work. You move to here, doesn't work. Move to here, doesn't work. There's no cover. And also, as you spawn, you are being targeted. So look at how many AAs died here. You have an Ito, Gepard, Florak, Type 81. You basically have everything. And then on the other side of the map, for the other area, when the helicopters were going pretty ham, you have a bunch of dead Panzers, the Tungi, and also the Shigler. Right? These guys had no chance, because they're facing fire and forget munitions, where they can fire within a second, and then run away. There was even a Strela here trying to hide behind the area. And then in the middle, you just have a mess of death, mainly because of CAS. Right? And that's the crazy thing. That's the part of this mission that to me is just nuts. Now, I believe we ended up losing this mission. But it doesn't matter if we win or we lose it. It's just the fact that this type of setup, this lane setup like this, where you have one spawn and you have very linear way of kind of flying around and going, does not work for top tier, and also does not work for a lot of tiers. Another K50 in the air. Oh boy. Yeah, we literally ran out of AAs. They all just got hammered. More pave ways coming in. I don't know where they're going. Oh, well, yeah, the guy got killed, right? But yeah, so this is the problem with it. They need to just remove these types of maps from top tier. They just need to get rid of them. They don't work. They're no good. And they just feel awful to use, right? They need to increase the spawn points on a lot of these setups. They need to have a think. This guy is now in a K50. He died in his other helicopter. Oh, he died in his Su-25, and I think he may have got one kill. He's now fully rocketing. So he's even bringing out the big guns. God damn. This guy has 3 kills now in his AH-60 because he was able to click 2 buttons. Should be very proud of that. The MQ-1 is just chilling. Oh, definitely chilling. then you have the ground vehicles trying their best to actually do things. But yeah. I've got to be truthful, as I said. This is not a standard experience at top tier, at least not for me recently. But it shows the problems that people can run into. And that is an issue. Why is there just a huge wheel there? Mega wheel. Anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it also illustrates what some people are talking about in terms of top tier and the issues that it's bringing along. If you have any thoughts, let me know. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.